What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the podcast. And today we have a guest that's not only a real estate agent but also does his own video shooting and drone flying and all those animation stuff. He's done it by himself. So we want to share his story and we want to learn about what he's done and how is he doing. So without further ado, guest, please introduce
Hey
yourself.
guys, I'm Chester. Chester Cheng to be exact. I'm a real estate agent. I'm sure that this video you guys may have seen from the title. I'm doing video shooting myself. Okay.
Okay. So before we dive into the main topic of a real estate agent doing a video shooting, because I know it's how hard it is to like shoot, edit, plan, and then also do sales as well, right? So we want to talk about how the experience and how do you overcome those problems and where do you find the solution. But before that, before we get into that topic, I want to know, tell us a little bit of your real estate journey. Tell us a little bit of yourself.
Okay. Well, I started real estate about 8 years ago. Basically, I don't have any experience back then also in real estate. I just happens to get into this when I was introduced by my friend. So yeah, so I started in Subang Jaya. Then mostly I cover residential properties. Then as time goes by, then I have my own team as well now. It's a long journey. It's very difficult. Although it looks nice on the surface, but then again, you have to work for it. There's no free lunch, even in real estate. Yeah.
Okay, so 8 years. You've been in the industry for 8 years.
Yes, 8 years. Time flies.
Okay, so when did you started going for a more social approach, like using social media in your marketing?
Well, I started using Facebook back then as a social media, kind of platform. So, but I didn't really do it as like what I was doing now. So basically, just a very traditional methods, just taking some photos, putting some details on Facebook. So I built organically a following in Facebook. I think almost 20,000 following, but that particular Facebook page is primarily covering for Subang Jaya alone. So now I'm spreading my wings, covering outside my comfort zone. So to do that, I need to have a little bit of each compared to my other colleagues or competitors. So that's where I started to do real estate video shoot. But mainly because during the past 2 years of lockdown, so I have limitation in my movement. Although we have papers, to travel, but most of the
Mm-hmm.
clients either refuse to come up because they are not within the zoning in terms of the area, then they can't cross borders. That makes a bit of a problem for me.
So before that, right, do you have any background in video editing, video shooting, or you just started doing by yourself?
No, I don't have any background. Not even comes to photography. I don't have photography. For me, is very straightforward. I just take from the one angle. That's it. Yeah. So it's very basic photography skills I have. When it comes to videography, then it's a bit more challenging. So during the lockdown, actually, I spent a lot of time watching a lot of YouTube videos from other creators, content creators, sorry, even in real estate, especially real estate, and then not only how they present, mostly done by overseas real estate agents from Americans, even some Europeans, and even our close border from Singapore itself, they are doing very, very good. So from that, I learned up. Not only that, I seen other videos in terms of camera shootings, how to do drone footage, things like that. So I picked up all myself. Uh,
So, a little backstory on how we actually got into this discussion is that I was going through YouTube and looking around like some property videos to get more, doing some research lah, like hey, what kind of new style are going on, and then I found upon this channel called Chester Cheng. It was a bungalow video. You were shooting a bungalow lot. Yeah, that was a bungalow lot, and the reason, yeah, the concept was very very straightforward. I saw the video. I saw your number. I call you and I'd be like, hey, would you like to come for our podcast? Like on the day, like just like few minutes of watching. Because I went through like few different videos of you. Like there's one you did for Star Wars, like those lightsaber kind of thing. That was like freaking cool. Like that's the first time I'm seeing an agent doing this kind of stuff, like by himself. Usually there's like a team behind him, but usually this is the first time I'm seeing him by himself. So it tricked me and I really wanted to get your story into the podcast lah. So looking back in your first videos, right, I noticed that you started off as usually typical agent will do is that they record the phone, they just walk around the property, and I mean that's the typical video they do lah. But I noticed that somewhere the transition, you came in front of the camera. May I ask why did you make that decision?
Yes, that was actually my whole intention. Like I mentioned, I don't have any videography experience in shooting. Not only that, I'm not used to. I don't have any experience even in acting. Okay,
Yeah.
so the whole idea was to transition from stages. That was my plan, but I need to start somewhere. I cannot just start up front and do in-person video presentation. It's going to be very, very long and going to be very crappy. So I didn't start somewhere, at least do a traditional video shoot. I try to then what do you call that? Learn from that first. Then after that, I moved to start to do in-person, but at the front, we call it the introduction and so the introduction. So that is where I started to get a little bit more involved in person. And then, of course, in the middle of the video shoot, I do a lot of voiceover. So that is my first transition. Yeah. So eventually, of course, I get to in person. I started with my own house because that's the easiest way you can do it.
Yep.
If I do it in client's place, I have to reshoot like 1,000 times. It's going to be crazy. So the best place to do it is my own house. So in fact, the video is quite short, but I did a lot of retakes. So, and my own house, I can do easily retakes anytime.
Okay. So speaking of like retakes and shooting and all that, right? Are you genuinely comfortable in front of a camera, or are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert?
Yeah, initially a bit stiff. Then after a while, then you get used to it. So yeah.
Okay. So can you share with us what are the challenges you face shooting a video? Like when you're starting out, what are the challenges you face?
Uh, Basically, the most difficult part I would say is the editing part. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge for me lah, because I don't have that skills in video editing. So learning from YouTube, seeing a lot of videos on YouTube is one thing about, and also reading about the what they call how to edit. That is one thing, but physically hands-on is another story. So it took me a long time to complete one video. In terms of man hours, I spent about 48 to 78 hours just to complete one shot, like 10 minutes, 6 minutes, because of my skill level back then. So I struggle a lot, and a lot of things that I want to put incorporated in the video, I can't because of my limitation in terms of my skills. That's where the Star Wars thing come in. So I learned a lot of VFX. So from that, then I incorporated a lot of those things that I picked up from there into the video.
Okay, okay, cool. So you're in the subsale market, right? Are you do just you do some subsale, or mostly you just do subsale?
Yeah, mostly I focus on sub-sales. Yeah, I do have I think 2 project videos, completed projects, but generally it's mostly sub-sales. Yeah.
So because I'm asking this out of curiosity, right? We interviewed some agents before who are in the subsale market. One of the most common struggle they will face is that getting the permission from the owners, or maybe even like when they shoot the video, two days later, before they even release the video, the property is already sold out already. So is that this kind of situation? How do you overcome it?
Yes, there's of course this challenge as well. Most, if not all, of my video shoots are exclusive, so that will eliminate the property. And yes,
Nice.
this is one of the key points. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
that one part, that is one part. And of course, the second part is the challenges when it comes to the owners, whether they are comfortable with me shooting the video. And in fact, I got some of the owners that they tell me, hey, no need to do video lah. Actually, not that important. Then of course I showed them what I've done. Then of course they were a bit of impressed. So they asked me, okay, let's go ahead. And of course, the second one is that some of the owners saying, hey, a lot of agents doing videos today. Of course, I know what they meant by a lot of agents do video. It's just hand carry their handphone and just walk around. So after I show them my video, they will say, oh, then he was impressed as well. Yeah,
Mm.
that makes a big
Okay.
difference.
So are you saying that when you get the exclusivity, um, you doing videos, does it help you getting the exclusivity deals?
Yes, it does. So that is one of uh, the main point that I got actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's really fascinating to hear that. Okay, so usually our viewers and our listeners are mostly real estate agents who looking to grow their brand or who's looking to get started in doing social media or even videos as well. So from your perspective, right, can you give us some tips if let's say a real estate agent is in a beginner level, how do they should they start and what should they need to be considering when they are starting up?
Or if they start off in the real estate, it is not as difficult as it used to because we have a lot of support lately from, in fact, most agencies are. But the core of the point is still you have to do sales and do a lot of marketing. So in terms of social media, that has to be the add-on. After you get your base right, then eventually you need to explore more options, alternative to make yourself a bit more unique compared to the rest of your peers. Yeah, so it is a process. It's a long journey. So depending on which type of property they cover, so different property, different area, you have different experiences. Yeah, and the challenges are different. So the easiest one is always start with the residential. I'm talking about sub-sales. So if you're going into a project that is completely 180 is the difference in terms of learning curve. Yeah.
Okay. So may I ask, like, we all know that videos is a trend right now. People want to do videos, but at the end of the day, as a real estate agent, the important part is the results. It's the sales that's coming through, or it's the conversion or the leads that you're getting from doing videos. Is it okay if you can share? Is there any results that all the videos that you done in the past? Was there any leads or was there any sales indirectly from the videos?
Yes, it does. Okay, so most of my videos are in my channel is not that old. If you look at it, it's about 3 months. There's the oldest one is about 3 months. And uh, over there, you can see some of them. I really changed the title to soul. So yes, it does help when I share the video to the buyer, or even but I get a lot of leads from sellers itself, vendor. So they see my video and they want to sell the property. They want to use the method that I approach. So yes, it does help in a way in both sides. Yeah. So most of my time that I spend to do the videos, um, actually it's a long time to do the production on site and also to the editing as well. So it's a long process. But that also it helps in a way that I don't really do much on site viewing nowadays. Reason is because when you do a video, it's like you street naked. So pretty much everything is seen. So the buyers that usually come for viewing when I show them pictures the traditional way, they don't do that anymore because they seen what is there that they wanted to see. So when they come for actual viewing, it's those that who are really, really into that property really. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's kind of like interesting to hear that coming from I know subsale when you're doing it by yourself, right? But okay, so we are coming to the end of the podcast. There's some few other questions that I want to ask before we end the podcast, right? The number one question I really wanted to get, especially from an agent's perspective, right? Because we are a service provider. We give services to other agents to shoot property tours and all, but we are not agents ourselves. But you being an agent and you are shooting videos, you're coming up with the content and even doing sales, right? Give us your perspective on it. Like, how is it very hard to like come up with content? Is it very hard to shoot videos and then do it sales? Is it how do you balance it out?
Okay, that's a good question. Sorry. Initially, I was struggling also, especially when come to do the on-site shooting and also the video editing, and then you have to juggle between for house viewing and meeting clients, closing sales. Yeah, it is a bit of a challenge for me when I started initially. I mean, conversion to the all this video presentation. Then of course I get the hang out with, then my the way the time frame I use to do the video editing has reduced significantly. So in one editing, normally I will take now is about 4 to 8 hours at most to complete a video, depending on how long the video is. So yes, but then again, like I mentioned, I don't do a lot of on-site viewing now. Only when those that seen my video, they wanted to view physically. So yeah, it does help in that manner. So previously, those that don't know, when I do the traditional way of sending photo pictures to the buyer, the viewing angle and also the details of the pictures are very limited. So the buyer actually has to physically come to actually, see the property. So on average, usually for one property that are fresh out of the market, the viewing will be approximately like sometime up to 10, 15, 20 per day. Yeah, if the property is hot. So from a video, I reduced that more than half. So it does, so that helps me, give me a lot of time to do other things like video shoots and also video editing. Yeah, in terms of content, not that difficult for me to get, because I've been in industry for like 8 years. So it's just a matter of converting my existing clients listing to video for the time being. So even for new content, I don't see it's difficult, because I've been getting calls to do other videos, but I just don't have time to finish do them yet. So it's just like stagging there. Yeah, and they're
So
into it. Yeah.
yeah, so from your experience, right? You say it's easy to come up with different contents, right? So can you give us like two contents ideas other than property tools? Because I see that in your YouTube channel you're doing like those reaction videos or those education videos, this and that, right? So is there any other than property tours? Is there any other content that you think that it's coming up with a hype or is very great for a real estate agent?
Well, that depends on season. Yeah, that depends on the season. Well, for me, those like content that I did, sharing one when I have an idea, then I'll just record it. Yeah, I don't really specifically plan what I'm going to talk, but those that I have idea, I just key into my my uh, my words spreadsheet or whatsoever. I just key in. Okay, this is the idea that I have. Whether I have time to record it is one more thing. So I just sometimes you just get creative. Like then you have ideas, and I just lock it in. Doesn't mean I'm going to produce the video anytime soon. But like seasonal content, like the one you watch in Star Wars for Christmas, if not mistaken, yeah, Christmas. Then I have another one like Doctor Strange in New Year, where I stop the time. So because New Year, so I created something. I learned about the whole idea is not to create the thing for fun. Of course, it does. I did this and send a message to my clients, so when they view it, hopefully that they see something unique in me. But most importantly is that the skills that I learned from creating that, just because the 1 minute shots that I do for the seasonal greetings, it takes a lot of time because it involves a lot of VFX. So I have very low skills in terms of VFX. But because of that, I incorporated a lot of the skills that I learned through my real estate videos. And I've done another one, which is going to be Chinese New Year, which I done completed like a month or so back already. And if upfront is about Mr. Loki from the Marvel universe. Yeah, you're going to see that show in a couple of days. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So, hope you guys listening to this get something from Chester because what I see in the market is that most real estate agents giving like an excuse like, hey, you know what, video editing, video shooting, it takes a lot of time to shoot, takes a lot of time to edit. You know, I don't know what the hell I'm talking in front of camera. But you know, Chester being in the industry for 8 years and only recently you started doing videos, right? Like posting up videos. Yeah, only like what 3 months, 3 months ago, and it's already having a significant growth in its YouTube channel, and that leads up to this podcast. Like, hey, I found his video from YouTube, and I just called him. So it opens up a lot of opportunities, and yeah. Chester, I want to say thank you for coming for the podcast, and thank you for sharing your own perspective on this and your experience as well. Is there anything you want to add before we end the podcast?
Well, actually, yeah, a bit more maybe for those who wants to agents that who are in Malaysia. Because I've been serving a lot of videos that are done by fellow Malaysians in terms of real estate content. We have, of course, there are few big ones in Malaysia. I think you also know about him. I've seen him in your podcast as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, generally we are not up to par yet, fully for Malaysian real estate industry. Even our closest neighbor, Singapore, is million miles away from us.
Yes, I mean they were the one that first started in Southeast Asia, ma.
Yeah, so I watch all their content, and they are on par, if not better, than the Americans now. So our neighbor Singapore. Yeah, so the way I see it is they are ahead of us like couple of years. So it's about time, I think, most Malaysians who are doing real estate to catch up with them. Otherwise, because the times has changed and we have to keep adapting.
All right. So, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, a very short podcast, but a very knowledgeable podcast as well. And if you guys want to work with Chester, with collaborate, co-agent, I don't know what they call it. You can contact him in the description. I will put all its links to contact him in the description below. And if you guys have more questions regarding about this, you can let us know in the comment section below as well. And if you want us to bring any other guests, let us know in the comment section as well. So as always, guys, go out there, discover, connect, and inspire. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.